Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers out there. It's all about elections this morning. Elections everywhere. India, of course, Narendra Modi. We saw the markets in India, the Sensex, the Nifty, even the Indian rupee, bond yields, bonds, all rallying in early morning trading. This is basically based on exit polls coming out of India that suggests that the BJP, Narendra's party, is set to possibly see a landslide in its results. If we take a look at some of the possible scenarios that have been mapped out. So in Parliament, you're looking at, I think, about 527 or so seats. And basically, you need about 272 to get a majority. So the scenarios you're looking at, if he gets about 370, that's going to be a blowout. That is Modi's party. 303 would be a status quo. And then below that, below 303, you're looking at a mild setback, and below 272 a deep setback, and if you get anything less than 240 a wipeout. But it is projected that the party is going to get about 350 seats. In fact, in a really bullish scenario, maybe even 400. The official results will be out tomorrow, so we'll see how. But basically, the party performed pretty well in the east and in the south, and basically consolidated on their hold in northern India. So Modi looks like he's going to have a mandate. He's going to continue ramping up spending. He wrote an op-ed this morning talking about India needs to dream big. So that's an indication that you're going to see some more infrastructure spending. Coming through India and trying to take advantage of the US and other countries wanting to decouple away from China. So India, again, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We've talked about Elon Musk and Tesla wanting to build factories there, Apple opening stores there. India is the story, and looks like Modi's hand has been strengthened. From there, we go to Mexico, and Claudia Sheinbaum has actually been, based on results that are out this morning, has been elected as Mexico's first female president. She basically was running under the Morena party, which is the ruling party, but the outgoing president, Andres Moreno Lopez Obrador, ALMO, as is frequently affectionately called in Mexico, a party that was only introduced formed in 2011. So that if we look at the election overview, basically for before we get to the results for Mexico, you're looking at about 98 million. Well, the president only gets one term, a 6-year term. You're looking at about 98 million voters, registered voters. Majority of them are women, about 52% of the electorate, and they've got about 187,000, pushing 190, maybe 200,000 estimates in terms of diaspora voters. There was a lot of talk of long lines in Madrid, Paris, around the world, in the United States, with diaspora Mexicans lining up at the different consulates to vote. If you look at the results, Sheinbaum, who, by the way, she's also apparently the first, not only the first female president, also the first president of Jewish descent in Mexico. So the Morena party capturing about 58% of the votes. Her closest rival, again, the top two candidates were women. Xochitl Galvez, she's a tech entrepreneur, pro-business person. Her National Action Party, although the logo is PAN, they came in second with about 27%. And then the only man, as far as the main candidates, the top candidates, Jorge Alvarez Menez, Citizens Movement Party, he came in only about 10% of the vote. So, essentially, they get another 6 years, but there have been a lot of issues as far as Mexico is concerned. So looking at Mexico's economic picture, you've seen it's a $1.4 trillion economy. Per capita GDP is about 11,496, almost 11,500. If you see the growth, GDP growth, and this is something they were knocking the president for, has only averaged about 0.8% between 2019 up until 2023. And that was because there was a big contraction in the economy of 8.6% in 2020 due to COVID. ALMO famously didn't want to spend that much money in terms of, palliatives, which Ambassador Joe Chessy was just talking about a moment ago. He didn't want to spend a lot of money on that. So Mexico's economy did contract pretty heavily, and so as a result of that, GDP growth has pretty much slowed. But looking at the rest of the metrics for Mexico's economy, you can see monthly remittances, and by the way, multiply that number by 12, climbing from about 2.5 or 2.3 billion in 2018 when the Morena party came into power to about 5 billion or so for March of this year. You can see unemployment at 2.3%, inflation at 4.4 as of March. The benchmark interest rates in Mexico is 11%, so they have a healthy positive rate of return. The Mexican peso is one of the strongest currencies in the world, appreciating by about 20% to the US dollar so far this year. Mexico, of course, enjoys a regional relationship with the United States. Its manufacturing capacity is pretty large. They make cars over there. They enjoy, of course, that boundary with the US, but they've been criticized as not taking up a position to give other countries an option to decouple from China, like the United States, like India has been trying to do. And Mexico, by the way, is the biggest trading partner for the US. One word, though, the election in Mexico was marred by violence. And this is violence that has not been seen on any recent scale. About 50 candidates were murdered. About 20 election officials were killed. The cartels pretty much run rampant in Mexico. The outgoing president he campaigned on trying to reduce violence in Mexico, but it's been suggested that he's in bed with the cartels. So insecurity is a big issue in the Central American country. But again, on the historic side, first female president. The last point, since she's coming from his party, some suggest that she might be a puppet of the outgoing president. So it will be interesting to see how she runs. She was talking about the U.S. elections. By the way, Mexico's women were not allowed to vote until 1953 in Mexico, and they have their first female president. Women were allowed to vote in 1929 in the United States, and still no female president there. She says that whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, that Mexico is ready to work with whoever the next U.S. president is. To Nigeria, our Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, was speaking to the media over the weekend on Sunday. He talked about a number of things. Says that Ways and Means, about 7.3 or 7.5 trillion has been paid back to the CBN. Also said that distribution of, you can call it, cash distribution, or cash palliatives if you want to, money supply issues. 75,000 naira they're going to begin distributing those. And then most interestingly, out of all that is what he said on fuel subsidies. So he basically said that fuel subsidies is an ongoing process. So if you take a look at a couple quotes from his interview, he said the fuel price is determined by dynamics, FX rates, and domestic production both play a part. To the extent that fuel is imported, that means that the more supply of foreign exchange we have, of course, the lower the price. He then says it is an ongoing process of ensuring that fuel subsidy is eliminated from Nigeria. That is what Mr. President's intent is, and that's what is being worked towards. So this is the first, I believe, admission from a senior member of the government that fuel subsidies have not completely been removed. And finally, just to round off, you do know, we Arise News, a number of other media outlets were in Enugu last week with Governor Mba, who was commemorating his first year in office. He invited journalists to come and ask him about what he's done so far this year and what he plans to do in the future. Talked a lot about security, providing water to indigents of Enugu, smart schools, natural resources, and the like. While I was leaving, I always have this, I think as a Nigerian, whenever you're in another country, you always have this thing to take pictures, or no, not even another country, other states, excuse me, whether it's another country or another states, wherever you're out of your own area, you want to look at fuel prices. I took a video. Fuel in Enugu is selling for 800 naira per liter, and that was as of last week, Monday. So it's a lot to put into context in terms of where things are. That's our update.
Okay, thank you very much, Rotus. Unfortunately, you've taken up all the time. I would have loved to comment on the India elections, Mexico, and all the elections this year. 120 of them, but the ones in focus, India, Mexico, and also South Africa, and, the elections due in the United Kingdom, in Britain very soon, which Rishi Sunak is going to lose, according to the surveys that we have seen. But thank you very much. Thank you very much.